All right, everyone. The other day it was reported by WAPO that the DNC is not going to be funding any Democratic debates for the current election. And some people are saying, well, the fix is in for Joe Biden. I'm actually going to deviate with the people that are dogpiling the DNC on this one. And also, there may not even be what you got prior, which is debates that are sponsored by private third parties. It makes sense historically for the DNC not to sponsor a debate when presumptively, that this is based on the idea, the premise that Joe Biden's big announcement is going to be that he's running for re-election. We're not still 100% sure of that. Every sign points to him running, but we're still not sure. It could be the ultimate shock to the system. Biden could get out in his on his digital message. I guess they're going to be releasing it digitally and say, look, I'm passing the torch and my big announcement is who I'm endorsing or something like that. Buttigieg, 2024. Kamala, oh, she's a good girl. She's done a good job as VP, Not really, but I'm going to smile and pretend for the cameras. That could be what he announces, which would definitely shake up the current political landscape. I suspect he will run. And it's, again, what literally the entire donor class and all of his potential surrogates are saying. They're expecting him to run. Warren standing down because she is a big fundraising name was kind of the tell for that. I think that there is now much better than a 50-50 chance that Joe actually is going to be crazy. He's crazy, and they're crazy enough to put him forward in 24. A then 83-year-old man who's been rocked by numerous scandals that were proven to be true. And by the way, they will keep ass covering for Biden. Don't expect the legacy media, big tech, etc. to throttle back on its propagandistic wall of silence around Sleepy Joe. They're not going to do that. But he is the incumbent. And he doesn't really have any viable competitors. There's Marianne Williamson, who's far left. She's basically the elderly version of AOC. And then RFK Jr., who's an eccentric fellow. He has a dynastic political name, and he is in the double-digit range, actually, if you look at all available primary polling. But that's not enough. When you've got an incumbent, typically you don't have debates of that kind. The Republicans didn't in 2020. Another reason why I see like Trump fans saying the fix is in, oh my God, and the Democrats. See, look, Democrats, your party is being corrupted, not giving you choice. Well, the Republican Party didn't hold primary debates in 2020. And Trump came out and said, I'm not going to participate in the private ones either because it's a waste of my time. I'm the nominee, I'm the incumbent, screw yourself. That's what'll happen here now. At least then you had a few also-rans, so you could actually have a debate stage. It was privately sponsored on several occasions. Trump didn't show up, though, so nobody watched it. If you only have Williamson and RFK Jr., I can't think of a single group that would want to fund such a debate unless it was a bunch of a collective of shit posters with a GoFundMe. Hey, get him up on stage, this'll be lit. And 10 fucking people tune in. Why? The kind of progressive groups that would want to give Williamson a platform, I think, would be hesitant to want RFK Jr. up there. Because they've already cast him off as an extremist and a conspiracy theorist. RFK Jr., who has a little more overall support, the kind of people that are going to support him probably would be reluctant to have the leftoid up on stage because the economic policies on several angles are like night and day. So if that's all you've got, if you don't get, at least one more person in so that you can justify even having a privately sponsored debate, Joe Biden will coast to the nomination if he announces, again, and that's that. That's a rather boring primary for the Democrats. At least on the Republican side, you have the possibility of a viable contender. You might end up having actual debates. The RNC might not fund them. They might lockstep behind Donald Trump and say, look, you're nearly 30 points ahead. You're the technical incumbent capable of running again. By the way, hint, hint, wink, wink, honk, honk, remember 2020. They may do that. There will certainly be a push for it at the state level if they try to design that. And if DeSantis doesn't run, I speculate that is what will happen. You could end up seeing effectively a primary-free process for the 24 election, which in one way is kind of sad because watching the primary debates, especially if Trump is on stage and he's beating up on DeSantis, he's beating up on Christie or whoever else gets in, Ramaswamy, that'd be funny. People love that shit. The debates that involve Donald Trump are great because you never know what crazy shit might come out of his mouth. In all honesty, when he's on a debate stage at the national level, which we'll see if they even allow that to happen and don't, cop out like they did in 2020. Oh, We're not going to have this debate. We can't agree on terms. Well, we're not going to be able to have this gathering because cough, cough. You know, somebody in the back row had the sniffles at the last one, so we've all got to self-isolate. They might try to pull something like that again. Why? They do not want Joe Biden getting up on stage with Donald Trump. No, absolutely. And they definitely don't want his running mate, if they're any good, getting up on stage with Kamala. Mike Pence made mincemeat out of her. If Mike Pence can cripple you in a debate and twirl you around like a pretzel and throw you out of the goddamn ring, probably somebody that's more cerebral than Pence and maybe more energetic and dynamic. It could be like a Ramaswamy, certainly a fucking Kerry Lake. They will do anything they can to make an excuse not to have it happen. If it's Kerry Lake, for example, to say she's an election denier. We refuse to allow our candidate to debate an election denier. And they might do that with Trump. We're not going to debate the insurrectionist. It's clear cut. The American people delivered a verdict in 2020, and they'll do the holier-than-thou bullshit thing and so on forth. Therefore, there's not going to be a Dem primary debate. We may not see a Republican primary debate again. It's basically up to DeSantis. If he does not get in, the most viable person likely to continue to get in is Chris Christie. With Pompeo out, Pence presumptively out, and other big names saying for years that they're going to stand aside because they support Big Don. Hint, hint, that if he wins, they want a continued career. That's Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, etc. Probably Rubio. Who the fuck is supposed to debate him? Trump won't even show up. He'll starve, he would be wise not to. He'll starve the other candidates of attention. He'll assert his effective incumbency. And he'll say, I'm not going to show up. By then, I'll be he's 45 points ahead of everybody else in the field combined. Why would I bother to justify debating you? Nobody's going to tune in if I don't show up anyway, or, only your core fans, and I'm not going to try to change their minds because I don't need to. I'm going to go and run 50 states. Biden will do the same. And Biden will win every state, by the way, if he announces. There is no viable competitor that's going to go up against an actual sitting incumbent. I think it's a terrible idea to let Joe run. I think that the Democratic Party is goddamn cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Trump is far better. He can out-debate Biden. Therefore, because of that weakness, and because of the likely economic weakness we're going to have probably over the next year and a half before the election, you can look for some shenanigans. We are preemptively warning of another honkening. I'm not going to mention anything further, at least on a video that goes on YouTube, but yes, you can expect some dirty deeds done, well, not dirt cheap in their case, they're quite expensive. Hunter Biden cover-up, we're looking at possible charges against him, which means they'll fix it. It would be good for Joe if Hunter Biden gets nailed with a felony for the gun ownership, lying on the background check for his firearm there. That'd actually be good for Joe, because then they can push the line that, look at the Republicans are bullying Hunter. All he did was buy a gun illegally, which is a big thing because the Dems hate guns. So just ignore all the laptop content that had to do with Joe now. All of the business dealings and 10% for the big guy. Ignore that stuff. It was just all Hunter's dick pics and him buying a gun. Wink, wink. That's what they'll do. There will be cover-ups. There will be censorship campaigns, big tech, the legacy media. They'll attempt to ignore Trump into irrelevancy the best that they can. They'll try to elevate his competitors the best they can. I suspect now at this point it is likely to be Biden v. Trump round 2. Which will be exciting if we get any fucking general election debates. Definitely, I'll be watching them. Hopefully I'll be able to live respond to them. I miss doing that. I can't wait until there's some more political chicanery going on, because those were good times. That's about all. Peace out.